Parliament of Uganda? What message would you have for Parliament of Uganda, but also what message would you like to send to President Yoweri Museveni, who is expected to assent to this bill? Earlier on, I told you that the President is extremely happy that Parliament passed this bill, and he actually said judges can spend more time working on other cases and stop interfering in issues of the military. What message would you have for Parliament and President Yoweri Museveni, Counsel Eron Kizza?
Let me start with the President. Dispensing justice is a judicial function. It's not a military function. Soldiers are trained in administering violence. They are professionals in exercising force, applying it. They are not professionals in dispensing justice, even if some of them were lawyers. The legal mind is largely destroyed or irrelevant. It is judges who are lawyers, civilian judges, that are experts of even military law, even the law of astronauts, even space law, even nuclear law. It is the lawyers that handle that. It is not the nuclear physicists or the doctors, even the medical law. It is the lawyers that handle it. Anything to do with the law, it's for lawyers. It's not for gun-wielding individuals. For Parliament, you have betrayed us, but a few of you will soon know that betraying an entire country is a major blunder, and you'll be running to those who are criticizing this bill for some help.
Why do you say that?
Yeah, we have seen since time immemorial, if you get bribed or intimidated as a legislator into supporting an evil fate is a double crosser, it doesn't take long for you to regret, because you'll be a victim of this evil law that you have passed. Some of you will.
Can you share with us examples?
Mama Babas couldn't consult because of evil provisions in the Public Order Management Act, and he was the chief architect of that law. Kare Kuhura was the big critic of the 48-hour law, and he fell foul of it. Grace Binjira is thought to have also fallen afoul of a law. I think the detention without trial law, and some others. Both in the previous government and this government, both in Uganda and abroad. I want to remind legislators that the Holocaust culprits were not tried by soldiers. That was the worst evil. Genociders in Rwanda, in Yugoslavia, were all tried by civilians. The Nuremberg trials were manned by civilians. Even right now, the ICC created under Rome Statute is manned by civilians. The people handling the Israel case in the ICJ, there is no soldier. So there is no big case here to talk about, pretend that you are going to take to the military. No. These soldiers, regardless of the guns being involved, whether they are drones, whether they are nuclear heads, as civilian lawyers, we can handle them because they are matters of the law.
All right. I want to come to quick response. Parliament processing this bill, and maybe you have looked at what has been processed through and whether there are any safeguards. What's your take and reaction?
Thank you very much, Kenneth, and dear listeners. My take on the UPDF amendment bill is that when you look at the bill, of course now what we are looking at is trying civilians into military court, that's court-martial. But there are other things, the amendment, it's not only about trying civilians in military court. We have so many amendments or provisions that have been provided in the UPDF Act,
touching on the welfare
and the welfare, health services, how the veterans will be managed, and this restructuring of the UPDF. So I think when you look at the UPDF amendment bill, find there are some loopholes in there when you look at it, but it's not entirely a wrong law, save for trying the civilian in military court. And also maybe we also need to inform listeners, it's under exceptional circumstances. It's not that civilians will be taken to military, to court martial. They will be taken to military court martial under exceptional circumstances, which we will highlight to our dear listeners. So I don't want to give the impression that the amendment is all about trying civilians in military court. They will be tried under exceptional circumstances. So we have so many provisions that have been provided for, and which I think they are good for the officers, because me, I was in Uganda police force, so really I understand what they go through as officers. So if they have provisions that are going to help the officers and their dependents, I think that's good. Then when it comes to trying civilians in the court martial, that's where the challenge is. And the law is providing for exceptional circumstances. It's not that any civilian will be taken to court martial.
What's your understanding of the exceptional circumstances as reflected in the bill?
Of course, they're talking about when in possession with firearm, ammunitions, putting on the military attire, also conniving with military officers to commit crimes, murder. We have kidnap, treason, and all that. So
what makes that exceptional?
As ordinary civilians should be taken to ordinary courts. So you be taken to military court under those exceptional circumstances where you're found with military attire, firearm, ammunition. So you are civilian, what are you doing with a firearm?
Let me ask you this. Have we not had situations where people found with such items have been charged in the normal civilian courts?
Of course, we have seen such circumstances back now.
And there have been convictions?
And I think that's why they're making amendments to help to put stringent measures. To put stringent measures to minimize misuse of firearms, and they be tried in court martial. I don't entirely agree with the bill. To be objective, because of that the setup of the court itself. That's where my problem is, the setup of court and the partiality. But saying that if they are going into general court martial and they can be able to get justice there, I'll have no problem. But are they going to get justice if they go to court martial? Do they have enough personnel or officers or judicial officers to handle the cases?
Well, those can be appointed.
Yes. Now, when
you could be a candidate.
Actually, when you look at the bill, they're saying you have to be a serving officer to be appointed a chairperson, and you have to be a captain. So I don't think they have enough manpower for that. They don't have enough lawyers and advocates at that to be the chairpersons, to be on the committee. To handle those cases. That's where the challenge is, because I don't think they will have that capacity to handle what we are trying to, the bill they're trying to pass.
All right.
That's my challenge.
All right.
They don't have the capacity to handle those cases.
All right. I'll come back to you to also follow up some of the issues that you have spoken, Mr. Eron Kizza. Yesterday, Parliament sat, discussed the UPDF amendment bill, and then it was passed. Today, President Yoweri Museveni was speaking from Luwero. He lauded Parliament for actually passing that bill and said if it had not been handled that way, there was a potential of a clash between the military, Parliament, and the judiciary. Let's begin by getting your view on how Parliament handled this matter, and finally, the bill is out.
No, first of all, to debunk Museveni's lie that the impression he creates as if there is anything wrong with Parliament, judiciary, and government clashing. They are created and they exist to disagree. They are not supposed to be scratching each other's back on each and every occasion. Such a clash is healthy in a democratic society. But to get back to the...
Have you understood what he means by a clash?
And who
would eventually come out at the top?
A stalemate. Whoever comes at the top, democracy is required that those institutions clash because those institutions are necessarily and constitutionally structured to check each other, to correct each other's mistakes. That is what, in his militaristic approach, he calls a clash. But by whatever description, parliament, judiciary, and executive are not supposed to be bedfellows on all issues all the time. They can cooperate, but they should be able to look each other in the eye and correct each other's mistakes. Where one of the institutions exceeds their ambit, then the other should check it. Especially the judiciary is not supposed to be in cahoots with the executive or with parliament. It is supposed to be the guardian of rule of law. It is supposed to be the custodian of human rights in the country, and it's supposed to be the guarantor of democracy. While the government can sometimes be understood when it goes beyond the boundaries of what we require in a democracy, the judiciary should never do the same.
All right. Let's now get your response to the bill that was passed by Parliament. We know the original bill that went into the House, and I'm sure you have internalized what has finally come out. Lawyers normally use the word safeguards. Do we have safeguards looking at what was churned out by Parliament?
No, as long as there is a window for trying civilians before courts martial, then forget any safeguard. Even if it existed, it would be ignored, it would be abused. All they need is an opportunity, a window through which they can take civilians in courts martial. You give them that and you're finished. They will, abductions will spike, and those abductions will be processed through military tribunals, especially of people who disagree with the government politically. In 2021, there was an island where the opposition political party NUP went, and a third of their campaign team was jailed. They were court-martialed, and they keep releasing some they have forced to agree to crimes they didn't commit, others they release on bail, others, but many are still in detention since the last elections because of the misconduct of the military tribunal. And those are the people you know. I interacted with several prisoners who had been unconstitutionally remanded by the military tribunal, some for as long as 10 years. It is a very dangerous, it's a poisoned chalice that this parliament is giving us in military tribunals that they have resuscitated after the Supreme Court had killed that kind of misconduct. We shall regret, but leading the regret will be among the champions of this satanic bill.
All right, I'll be coming back. Chairman, President Yoweri Museveni, I call him your chairman because you come from the NRM, has now the mandate of actually signing this into law and making it to start working.
Next time you should call opposition.
Do you have
you can't call NRM and don't call opposition.
Do you have a message for your chairman?
But I think we have seen circumstances where the chairman has not signed the law and has reverted it back to Parliament to make changes. So I'm hopeful that he will reconsider the decision to assent to this bill on grounds that the issue people are raising of independence of the court martial will be handled. If I had an opportunity to speak to him, or if I was the Attorney General,
you have the opportunity. He could be listening.
Yeah.
To you.
So I would tell him, like, make a general court martial an independent court like any other court, like as we have the land division, we have commercial division, under the normal judiciary. So we know that we have a general court martial. It handles those cases of treason, ammunitions, you know, those things that we are talking about that are going to be handled, and the judges go through the same process. So why are you consulting the Judicial Service Commission? You're saying you're going to do it in consultation with the Judicial Service Commission, but you're now putting a provision that you have to be a serving army officer of this rank. And you know, all army officers, there is a common saying that order jeshi ni moja. So if you're an army officer and you're the judicial officer in the court martial, who are you going to consult first? You're going to think what is the mind of the chief in the commanding officer. So I think the Attorney General or the Parliament should have consulted, should have taken time to understand. I don't know if maybe they did, I don't know, but they should have taken time to understand the implications of the General Court Martial, and why did the Supreme Court
quash it in
the first place?
All right.
The issues of partiality, independence of the court, have they been addressed in the bill? If not, then don't allow that bill to go through.
All right.